we are going to speak to Sarah McArthur, who is a friend of mine. She is a wonderful human being to work with, and she works with an organization called Power of XYZ. A little bit more information about Sarah's presentation. Sarah is going to, be focusing on generational change, something that we just spoke about a little bit in our last presentation as well. As an entrepreneur, Sarah is deeply connected to her mission at Power XYZ, where she serves as CEO. Power is a boutique creative agency dedicated to promoting empowerment self-defense. Sarah experienced a life-shifting transformation after her first ESD class over 11 years ago and is passionate about being part of the global empowerment self-defense movement. Thank you so much for being here, Sarah.
Thank you, Rachel. It's interesting going last because I am so inspired by all the presentations going before, and I'm excited to share about the generational choice, I say, or transformation that has happened in my own family as a result of ESD. So ESD is a researched method of teaching empowerment self-defense. And what's beautiful is that there is research that can be seen, papers done. But today I want to talk about my own personal story and how ESD has brought change to generations in my own family. So this picture here is my mom and my uncles, and then my grandfather and my grandmother. And I brought this picture here because I really would like to talk about how times are changing, and how at the time in their early life, there was less access to services of mental health services. There was less open conversations about trauma, about generational trauma, about healing, going to therapy, those type of things. And so in my family, we have in this generation had already experienced generations of trauma, from sexual assault to domestic violence, to mental health struggles. And so it's good to look at the generation above and to know that we can, as a generation, the next generation, can begin to look at what changes can happen in our own life. You can change the slide. So here is my family, my dad and my mom. This is not all of my siblings, but my brother, my little sister, me and my older sister, Anna, in this picture to the left. And then the picture on the right is a much more expansive of, and is still missing my oldest brother and his family, but an expansive view of my family, our siblings, our partners, our children, and our great-grandchildren, great nieces and nephews. And I show this picture because I want to express how this work can really become something that goes entirely through a family. And I wanted to be able to demonstrate how big this family is and how it is impacting each generation. So the picture here on the very right is my older sister, Anna. And Anna, she is in a lot of ways the forerunner in our family to becoming activists, to working on healing trauma, to speaking up. She is a domestic violence advocate. She has done a lot of work. She's testified on 2 separate bills. One to make non-fatal strangulation a felony. The second was a habitual offender bill. If a perpetrator is convicted of 3 DV misdemeanors, any charges after that would become felonies. She's also worked on CVAC, Crime Victims Advocacy Council, to give voices to victims through the criminal justice process. She's been doing this work for probably 25 years, and seeing her do that work, I know it really was interesting for me, being a little sister, to see her healing process, to see her stepping out, to see her courage. And she really was somebody who started, I think, many of us thinking about the next level of our own healing and our own stepping out. And so for me, the journey began with my sister-in-law, Claire. She's at the very top on the left. And she had read about a self-defense class that was happening at the police academy in Colorado, and she invited me to come along with her. So I did. We went to the class, we learned some skills. The one thing they talked about in that class was a book called The Gift of Fear by Gavin DeBecker. So I was really interested in reading more, learning more. I consider myself a lifelong learner. So I got the book, I began reading. In the book, The Gift of Fear, Gavin DeBecker talks about empowerment self-defense through organizations called Impact or Impact Personal Safety. I knew right away it was something that I was interested in because in my background, before the age of 18, I had experienced tremendous amounts of anxiety, bullying, trauma in the home, abuse in the home. I think I said sexual assault. I've just endured quite a few things before the age of 18. And so I really was interested in finding out more. At that time in my life, I was about 28. I felt really paralyzed by my fear of the world, by going out by myself. I was scared that I was going to just be in the wrong place at the wrong time and be a victim. And so I lived my life in such a way that I wouldn't go out at night without my husband at the time. And I really struggled to just live life at that time. I was also really struggling with the levels of trauma I had. I was recently diagnosed with anxiety disorder and ADHD due to the levels of the trauma in my life. So when I heard about Impact, I was really intrigued. I looked up online, found out that Colorado was just starting a chapter there, and got in contact with Amelia Dorn, who is the founder of Impact Colorado. We met, she told me more about the program, and I was really excited, really interested, and terrified all at the same time. And you can change the slide. It was a 16-hour course that I took, or 20-hour course over 2 weekends. And from the time of the second weekend to the graduation, I knew that my life was changed. I felt different. I walked different. I was no longer the same person that I was before I took that class. I knew it. I felt it. And I said, I have to find a way to get involved. So I asked, how do I get involved? And they said, we always need volunteers as assistants. And so I began assisting, and I was able to get enough hours of assisting so that I could help my other family members get discounts and attend classes too. So I was able to get my mother in a training, and this is my mother here, me and my mother in our Ready stance through an Impact class. And so my mother took training, and I've asked her if she would write a little something about what the experience was like for our family as we're looking at changing generational trauma. And this is what she wrote. I'm going to read it. My daughter Sarah took a class to help overcome her fear that we instilled in her over the years. She took the class and fell in love with how it made her feel, and was committed to women's self-defense ever since. She worked very hard and had built up enough credits to have some family members take the class. I had separated from my husband of 37 years. He was verbally abusive and physically abusive to my sons. Taking this class helped us all gain more confidence and feel free to set our boundaries with him and others. These are the family members that have taken the class. Of course, Sarah, me, Anna, Dominic, Claire, Lydia, and the next generation, Chase, Sarah's son, 11, and Lily and Ella, Dominic and Claire's twins, 9. I'm so proud of Sarah and her company XYZ she's created with Michael, Nikki, Emily, Anna, Nicole, and the other team members she works with. Sarah has always loved Impact and now works with these fantastic organizations. It's just where she wants to be. Impact Personal Safety of Colorado changed our lives and continues to do so to this very day. We walk with our heads held high and always ready in our stances if we need them. And I wanted to share that because I think it's so important that as our mother, she was able to take this class. She was able to experience transformation from it. And having my brothers and sisters all take the class, each experiencing some level of transportation, each different from each other, and have a love for it, helped us all as a family to begin to shift our generations for the next generation coming. So we begin to talk more. We begin to teach emotional well-being and emotional intelligence to the next generation. We begin to teach them about boundaries, and we respected their boundaries. So we made a decision as a family that if the little kids decide they didn't want to hug us, they wouldn't have to. We begin to teach them about their body boundaries and their voice and nonviolent communication. And my son took a class when he was 6 and when he was 8. And one of my favorite things is to have seen him with a friend that was kind of egging him on and pushing him a little bit, is to put his hands up and tell them to stop. And also to hear him use the nonviolent communication that he learned in class. Because after my training, I became an instructor and then became the executive director of Impact Colorado. My son was always with me. He went to board meetings. He went to events. He grew up in Impact. He has a love for Impact. And when I attended Jerusalem in 2020 for a level 1 self-defense, he was with me and he actually got to do a demonstration for people there. And so he is growing up in a space where he sees powerful women. We talk about inequalities that have happened. We talk about emotions. So he gets to say to me, "Mom, I'm feeling sad," or "I feel like I'm really struggling this." And he uses his voice to express those things. This past summer, I had the honor to work with my brother and sister-in-law and my nieces who are 8 in a private family class. So my brother and sister-in-law have taken a class and even an advanced class, and now their children have taken a class. And my sister-in-law sent me a note to just say, seeing the girls take the class made her realize how important this work is for children, because as children, they're learning skills that will help them to not only prevent violence, but speak up and to not have to experience life through fear in a way that she did, in a way that kept her paralyzed. So from this, you can go ahead to the next slide. So from being a student, my passion only grew to becoming an assistant and then to becoming an instructor. And like with my family, how I saw change happening, what I began to see as an instructor was that this work was impacting the people around it, the people who were taking it. We saw children and parents taking classes together, now getting the same language around safety, value, health, telling, disclosing, and practicing it together was a beautiful experience. We saw teens have a different dynamic shift of not having to engage in violence when maybe they felt like they had to because they had no choice before. We saw women who begin to speak up more, ask for raises, just set boundaries that maybe they hadn't set before. It was really incredible. And so that part of my experience was great. I got to teach certain friends. I got to experience and support my family as they continue to do it. And that has led, you can go to the next slide, to our family passion of advocacy. So my sister has used her experience and has now come into ESD world using her 20 years of experience in violence prevention, in domestic violence, to help increase the words about what we're doing. She works with Impact Colorado, and I myself am a passionate advocate, as you can probably see, to the work of ESD. Even in this last year and starting at Power of XYZ, which is a creative company to help spread the word about ESD. And I've been very busy and talking to my son about it. And he says, "No, Mom, I know that you're busy, but the work you're doing is important and the world needs it. So keep doing it." You can change the slide. So advocacy of speaking our stories, telling our truths, speaking together. It's really a beautiful experience that we see in the generation of siblings. But what's more beautiful is seeing what happens to the next generation of the kiddos. If you'll switch to the next slide. So my son, like I said, my son has taken the program, and so this is my son and the two nieces that have taken this program. And then here on the upright of the women, uh, 5 of the 6 of us have taken it. My niece on the left, she will be taking soon, but she has also seen her aunties and her grandmother and her mother do this work. And so even from that experience, she sees boundary setting, she sees nonviolent communication, she's seen those things. And then she has brought that on the very bottom right are my great nieces and nephews, and they walk in the world in a different way than we ever did. They know body autonomy. They know they have boundaries. They know they can speak up. These children, they know they can ask for what they need. They know that they can express anger and other emotions than just anger. They know that they don't have to hug anybody or accept hugs from anybody. And it's really a beautiful story of generational choice. And the reason I say generational choice is that based on my own trauma, what I found was that trauma stole from me many things. One of them being my boundaries. I'm going to get emotional. One of them being my voice. One of them having the choice of who I wanted to be and how I wanted to be in the world. And this work has restored choice to me, has restored my voice to me, has restored boundaries to me, and has given me the opportunity to continue over 11 years, to continue the work, to continue to be who I want to be, who I choose to be. And now that has gone to the next level of the next iteration is running a company with the principles of ESD, with the principles of empowerment, boundary setting, nonviolent communication, and support for one another, and seeing how these principles that can be lived individually can also be done in a corporation, can be done in an organization, and can be done with staff. And it makes me excited for what PAVE is doing. It makes me excited for the other companies who are looking to bring more nonviolent communication opportunities to the experience that they have. So I am forever grateful for what impact and ESD has done for me. I know for myself, I have been better able to ask for raises or job promotions. I know that I have better been able to have difficult conversations that make me, sometimes I cry during difficult conversations still, but after years of trying to change that, it just hasn't. So I go with it now. I know that I can ask for the things that I need with friends and family. I know that I can ask my family, if I'm just having a hard time, because living with PTSD can mean that daily there's a hard time. So some days I just need more space and less connectivity. And I know I can say those things to my family and have the support that's needed. So, and that goes outside of that. There's a community in ESD that really allows for these experiences, these conversations, these opportunities, the courage, the bravery, because there's an understanding, just like right now, I know that many people that I very much care about and who care about me are watching this. There is an ability that together, we can spread the word, together we can support each other, together we can find courage together we can share the word about this kind of work. Together we can share the data that works, that's out there. Together we can share the evidence, and our stories help other people to be seen, to be heard, but also to say, hey, how do I get involved? And that is what my heart's passion is about, and what we at Power of XYZ want to do. Is we are a creative organization who focuses on storytelling and sharing the word about ESD with the clients that we have. And we're very, very excited and thankful to have this opportunity to share with you how ESD can be so transformative in communities, but also within families. This picture on the bottom next to the kiddos, unfortunately, my mom got cut out a little bit, but this is a 5-generation photo of my grandmother, who was not able to experience impact, but saw the effects of impact on our family, who also invested in our healing work. My mother, who has done impact, my sister, who has done impact, and my niece and great niece, who live life because of in a different way because of their understanding of healing, changing generations, and the work we've done in impact. So thank you very much for having me, and happy to answer any questions there might be.